Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
And Larson.
And today, once again, we're going to go back in time to study the brain of the most influential wrestling content creator in history, those other guys, Dave Meltzer. That's right, Larson. This time, you're in this hot seat because we're going to do another retro Meltzer Guess the Star Rating review video content here. Larson, you are completely in the dark in terms of what show I've chosen today.
Give me what I want. Give it to me.
You know, man, you've been kicking my ass lately. Not only in these Guess the Meltzer star ratings, but on the court in basketball. And so today I'm bringing something pretty diabolical, maybe even. And I don't even know if we watched this show or if we were still doing our protest against the Saudi Arabia shows, but we're going to journey back to the year 2019, and given that Crown Jewel has now been taken from its place in Saudi Arabia and dumped into Perth for the 2025 Crown Jewel, we're going to go back to 2019 Crown Jewel. Couple of gems on this particular show.
Is that the one with Brothers of Destruction versus DX?
No. I know we didn't watch that one, and I know you've said you didn't watch that, so I'm not going to put you through that one. It's the next one. In fact, this is the debut of both Tyson Fury in the ring and Cain Velasquez in the ring. It is shocking to me that in this day and age, when I'm sitting here over at WrestleJuice bitching about, they're going to do Logan Paul, Jey Uso, and Pat McAfee, Gunther on the same card, which they're not doing. But like we're sitting here like, this is going to be an epically bad card. Well, that has nothing on this Crown Jewel 2019 card. So I'm going to ask the question, are you ready?
It's 2019. The star ratings can't be that high. Let's go.
All right, let's do it. I will preface the actual write-ups with some tidbits from the pre-matter, as we like to call it, I guess, now at this point. He says this about the show. The show was a mixed bag. For wrestling, it was the best of the 4 Saudi shows, but of the big 4 matches, only one, the Team Hogan versus Team Flair 8-man match.
That show. I remember that show.
Really delivered. And the other 3 ranged from a hard-working but bad presentation, and the other 2 were 2 of the company's worst matches of the year. Making it worse was that they were the 2 matches the show was built around. For all the same reasons, it had the feel of the Antonio Inoki near death of New Japan than of the actual death of WCW. I don't really know what that means, to be honest with you.
That's an oddly worded sentence, to say the least.
He continues, both Lesnar versus Velasquez and Fury versus Braun Strowman fights were total duds. Fury was simply too green to pull off a match. Lesnar and Velasquez really didn't even try to have a match, with Lesnar beating him via submission with a Kimura in 2 minutes and 3 seconds, with Velasquez on top doing ground and pound. Velasquez's knee was worse than expected. The idea was always for a short match, with the Paul Heyman-style Goldberg match layout of big moves, but with Velasquez's knee in such bad shape, they changed it to a match where nothing much happened. The belief is he needs surgery. No word on the status of the Mexico City match, but I'd think he'd want to do that one if possible. But after 2 very strong performances with AAA, the WWE version of Velasquez did absolutely nothing, and I can't see anyone caring at all about him going forward, and he signed a high-dollar, multi-year contract. And in fact, besides the pre-show match, which was a Battle Royal, this match started the card. It was Brock Lesnar for the WWE title, defending against Cain Velasquez. They pushed that this was the first time anyone has made their WWE debut in a title match. The crowd was completely behind Lesnar and chanted as much as they could with Paul Heyman's promo. Velasquez threw some low kicks. They pushed that Velasquez was a striker but not good at submissions. Between that and how bad this match was and the finish, I suspect some MMA fans threw a brick through their TV sets during this one. Velasquez knocked down Lesnar with some knees and punches and was doing ground and pound. Lesnar hooked the Kimura from the bottom of Velasquez, tapped, and then there was like a bunch of Rey Mysterio stuff that was just description, like going after Lesnar because they had a match later or at a different pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And then it says Lesnar vowed he would get back at Mysterio. That's what you get. What did Dave Meltzer give this match?
I remember this match was short. It was lousy.
This is just barely over 2 minutes.
Yeah, this was the match that followed Brock beating Kofi.
Okay, that makes
because they set up the match with Kane right after that.
This was October. This was on Halloween. It was October 31st.
Yeah, so that was earlier in October when Brock beat Kofi on the season premiere of SmackDown.
Yeah.
It's gonna be below 2 stars. What's the first sentence again? Give me the first sentence.
They pushed that this was the first time anyone has made their WWE debut in a title match. But I mean, if you want the real,
what's like the one real editorializing bit in that particular match?
Let's see here. I mean, okay, in the pre-matter, both Lesnar versus Velasquez and Fury versus Braun Strowman fights were total duds.
Total duds. Okay. Wow. Gosh. I mean, like, dud's a rating he gives. That's 0 stars.
Dud is an actual rating he gives.
I mean, I wouldn't think you'd include total duds in you know what you just read if the rating was a dud, because that's too much of a clue. I mean, that's giving you the actual star rating.
Well, back in 2019, he wasn't writing this to, like, you know, mess with us.
No, I understand.
I think clearly he's doing that these days.
Yes, obviously. But I'm saying if either you would or you wouldn't include them there to mess with me.
Right, good point.
All right, I'll say he didn't give it a dud. I'm going to say he gave it half a star.
He gave it -1 star.
Yeah, it was really bad.
It was that bad.
It was really bad.
This is great because I know you love gauntlet matches, and Crown Jewel 2019 for some reason included a tag gauntlet match.
Yeah.
Which kicked off. So the next, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 matches are all tag gauntlet matches.
Oh
Larson.
my gosh. Did he give a star rating for each individual one?
Yes.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness.
You know, man, if you were more supportive and encouraging of me during these things, but you're always trying to screw with me, you're always trying to say, is this your final star rating? So that you kind of deserve this. This is storytelling right
You know,
here.
I guess in my mind, it's more chances to get these right and pad my score.
That's a great way to look at it, because you've got like 15 opportunities here, dude, altogether. All right. You're 0 for 1. Let's see if you can get out of this tag gauntlet 3 for whatever that would be.
3 for 10,000, whatever it is.
Yeah, exactly. All right. First up, Robert Roode and Dolph Ziggler. What are they called? The Dirty Dogs?
Dirty Dogs.
Versus Grand Metalik and Lince Dorado. This match was 5 minutes, 42 seconds. Meltzer says, this was the first match of a tag team gauntlet series. Fans liked the match. Roode pinned Metalik after a glorious DDT.
Fans liked the match. All right, so that gives me a floor of about 2 1/4. It was short. I want to say 2.5.
Look at you, baby. You're on the board. All right. The heat's on now, man.
Yeah.
The Dirty Dogs then took on Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins. This only lasted 46 seconds. Ryder was supposed to do a neck breaker off the top rope, but pretty much missed the move. Ziggler super kicked both of them, and then Roode and Ziggler did a combination spine buster and zigzag on Ryder, and Roode pinned him. What did he give this match?
No editorializing. He said 45 seconds.
46 seconds.
All right, this is going to be below 2 1/4. It's short. He didn't talk shit about it except for the missed spot, but at the same time, the match is so short. I'll say he went 1 1/4.
1/4 of a star.
Dang it.
Next up, Heavy Machinery comes out for the Dirty Dogs. This match actually lasted almost 6 minutes.
Wow.
Otis really got the crowd going. He got a big pop taking his shirt off and flaunting his giant gut. Otis pinned Roode after the compactor. What star rating did Meltzer give this?
All right, he put over Otis, ripping off his shirt, getting the crowd going. It was 6 minutes. Say he gave it the same as the first one, 2.5.
Yes, you got another one. There you go. Continuing on with this gauntlet. 2 for 3. Big E and Kofi Kingston, the New Day, are up next, taking on Heavy Machinery. This match lasted 3 minutes and 23 seconds. The New Day was really over, more than almost anyone on the show. The crowd was heavily kids, so that explains it. Tucker missed a crossbody off the top and was pinned by E after the midnight hour. The crowd had fun while it lasted.
All right, so short. It's not going to be above 2.5. Said it was fun. I'll say 2.25.
1.5 stars.
Darn it.
All right, here we go. Let's
All
get
right,
that momentum
2-4.
back.
2-4.
The New Day versus Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas. They're the B team.
B team.
1 minute, 30 seconds.
All right.
Kingston did a trust dive to the floor on Dallas. He pinned Axel after the big ending.
Wow, that was it.
You get nothing, sir.
How long was it again?
1 minute, 29 seconds.
Can I ask you to remind me what he gave the really short one?
The really short one was
a quarter of a star?
A quarter of a star.
This one was slightly longer. I'm going to say he went half a star.
1 star for this match. One star.
All right.
This actually might be pretty informative in terms of like what the floor for a timed match is versus what the star rating is.
Yeah.
Big E and Kofi Kingston versus the Revival. Say yeah.
Yeah.
In 4 minutes, 57 seconds, so almost 5 minutes. Just for context, the previous 6-minute match, the one a couple before this,
Got 2.5.
got 2.5 stars.
Yeah.
This sets New Day up for a SmackDown tag title shot because the New Day won. This was the best wrestled match of the Gauntlet and one of the best of the show, but just too short to build anything. Kingston pinned Scott Dawson with a small package. The Revival jumped them after the match and laid Kingston out with the Shatter Machine. That's all you get.
3.25.
2.25. So even though this was the best wrestled match of the Gauntlet, it did not get the best star rating of the Gauntlet. That was Heavy Machinery versus the Dirty Dogs.
How does that make any sense?
I guess because they went a minute more? Maybe? I don't know. There's 2 more Gauntlet matches here.
Oh, my gosh.
The Devil Next. Luke Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson versus the New Day. This match lasted 1 minute and 1 second. The what do they call Good Brothers won this match.
Yeah.
Says Kingston was selling from the Shatter Machine, and Gallows and Anderson went for the Magic Killer, but Kingston escaped. Anderson gave Kingston a running kick, and then they hit the Magic Killer on Kingston, and Anderson pinned him. Not a lot to go by there.
How long was it? 1 minute, 1 second?
So this was 1 minute and 1 second, and the minute 29 match got 1 star.
3/4 of a star.
3/4 of a star. This gets close, half a star.
Gosh darn it. I almost went half a star.
And then finally.
This is exhausting.
You're running the gauntlet right now, man.
I know. I'm exhausted.
Good Brothers versus the Viking Raiders. The Good Brothers beat the Viking Raiders in 3 minutes, 49 seconds. So almost 4 minutes. Just nothing to this. Anderson took out Eric's knee and threw him into the post. They just worked Eric over most of the way. Anderson gave him a chop block, and Anderson pinned Eric after the Magic Killer. At this point, this is my editorializing, it feels like Meltzer is running the gauntlet here.
And he's done with it.
Because his ratings are all over the place, and he's over it.
There was nothing to it, he says.
Just nothing to
Just
this.
nothing. And it was, what, 4 minutes in length?
About that, yeah, 3 minutes, 49.
3/4 of a star.
1 star and a quarter. At this point, I feel like the star rating system is completely broken down.
Yeah, it's just grabbing star ratings out of a hat at this point. He tossed every possible rating under 3 stars in a hat and just start.
Yeah, under like 2.5 stars.
Start
Yeah.
pulling numbers out.
All right, man. Back to reality here. We've got a Mansour match. He took on Cesaro. This match was 12 minutes, 40 seconds. Of course, Mansour got the win. Mansour got a big reaction. Just watching how well this was done makes you shake your head when you see them do the opposite and never develop local market stars. Mansour did a flip dive. The crowd was into the near falls by Mansour. Cesaro came back with a gut wrench middle rope superplex, an uppercut, and a crossface submission. Cesaro went for another middle rope gut wrench, but Mansour countered with a powerbomb and then hit a moonsault for the pin. He did a post-match interview in English talking about how we all dreamed someday there would be a Saudi Arabian superstar in WWE. What star rating did Dave Meltzer give this match?
I remember this match being relatively entertaining.
Cesaro, baby.
Yeah. Crowd was into it. Didn't really have anything negative to say. I'm going to say he went 3 1/4.
He actually went 3 3/4 on this one.
Wow.
Yeah. He seemed to like this quite a bit. All right, next up, we've got Tyson Fury versus Braun Strowman. Tyson Fury beat Braun via countout in 8 minutes. Remember, of this match, he said both Lesnar versus Velasquez and Fury versus Braun Strowman fights were total duds. Fury was simply too green to pull off a match. In his write-up, he says, they had Fury work in a t-shirt. They did early spots showing Fury outboxing Strowman, but they got away from that after a few seconds. Fury looked real bad coming off the ropes. I think the problem was Fury tried to play pro wrestler doing spots instead of playing boxer in a boxer versus wrestler match. I think because he kind of has an idea what to do with his limited training, they had him work like a pro wrestler, and he was far too green to pull it off on this stage. At one point, Fury sat up like The Undertaker because, well, Undertaker was his favorite as a kid. Strowman slammed him and ran him over twice. Strowman was really running slow the second time. The finish saw Strowman go to get into the ring, and Fury threw a punch. Strowman fell to the floor and sold it like he was knocked out. He couldn't get back in the ring by 10, and it was over. Strowman power slammed Fury after the match, but the crowd booed him for that. What rating did he give this match?
So he gave the other one -1, right?
Yes, correct.
So you'd think this would be in similar territory. This one was longer, but longer doesn't always mean higher star rating, especially if the match is bad. So the question is it going to be a little bit above -1 or less than -1? I'm going to say he went -1 1/4.
He actually went literal with this. It was a dud. He said they're both duds, but only gave one a dud rating.
He gave this match a higher rating than Brock and Kane.
Is dud a 0?
I believe dud's a 0, yeah.
Next up, AJ Styles versus Humberto Carrillo from my favorite tag team, Los Garza.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Humberto won a battle royal in the pre-show to win a shot at AJ Styles' U.S. title. Not the I'm so flustered. Intercontinental. The crowd was so dead for this. Carrillo was doing cool moves all over the place. Carrillo missed a moonsault, was selling his knee, and Styles hit phenomenal forearm for the pin. What a day Meltzer did.
Wow, that's it?
This match was 12 minutes, 34 seconds.
So crowd wasn't into it. Carrillo was doing cool moves.
AJ Styles.
This sounds like a little bit above match happened territory. I'm going to say 2 3/4.
Boom! Got it. There you go. Well done. Well done. All right.
Got 3.
You got 3 more matches left.
All right. Come on. Got to get the rest of them.
Natalya beat Lacy Evans in 7 minutes, 20 seconds. Meltzer in the pre-matter wrote extensively. I'll just break it down for you. Wrote extensively about how much this meant to Natalya, how much this meant to the company, added some historical context in terms of like there had already been matches worked. So this was the first pro wrestling match worked in Saudi Arabia. In Abu Dhabi, I think, they claimed that they got the first one there with Banks versus Bliss. However, TNA had already run some women's matches there. So he does a pretty good write-up, but it's pretty extensive. So, and none of it was really editorializing this actual match. He said this, Natalya was in tears early. The two shook hands. The crowd was into this as a novelty. It was a basic match. There were some "this is awesome" chants. Evans hit a moonsault for a near fall. Natalya used a discus lariat and sharpshooter for the submission. Both hugged an unidentified woman at ringside. By the way, neither knew who the woman was. That's all he gives you.
All right, he says basic match.
Yeah.
Which tells me it's in the 2 to 2 1/4 territory. I'm going to say he went a little bit higher than that. I'm going to say he gave it 2.5 stars.
Gave it 2 stars. Your initial instinct was correct.
Darn it.
All right.
All right.
Let's get these last 2 here.
2 more.
Next up, Team Hogan, brother. Roman Reigns, Ricochet, and Shorty G. And Ali. Wait, and Ali? Oh, yeah, Mustafa Ali. Yeah, okay. Beat Team Flair, Randy Orton, Drew McIntyre, King Corbin and Shinsuke Nakamura. This match was 19 minutes and 50 seconds of the match. Dave said this. Good stuff. Lashley wanted no part of Rusev, so they kept him apart till the end. Reigns did a hot tag and then did a drive-by on Orton and Lashley and then gave Corbin a leg drop since Hogan was there. Jimmy Hart was at ringside as well. He's there. He's never talked about. He barely ages. It's like Bray Wyatt's magic tricks is lifting WWE Network Memphis footage and inserting it into ringside at Saudi Arabia 37 years later.
Huh?
Your guess is as good as mine. Rusev then cleaned house to get face-to-face with Lashley. The crowd was really into them since they built it well. Reigns hit a Superman punch on Lashley. Reigns did a big running dive on everyone. Hogan and Flair didn't even tease doing anything physical. You can see how careful they are because the usual rule of thumb would be for Flair to take one pratfall from Hogan, but I think it's for the best they don't put Flair in that position at this point. What star rating did Dave Meltzer?
So he said good stuff at the head, right?
He said good stuff. He also said in the pre-matter, this one really delivered.
All right, that tells me the floor is 3.5. It's going to be somewhere between 3.5 and 4.25. I don't think it's going to go quite as high as 4.25 because this is WWE after all.
It is WWE.
So I'm going to say because he gave Cesaro, Mansour 3 and 3. I'm going to say he gave this 4 stars.
So close. 3 3/4. All right, man. This is the last one here. This has got to be the toughest challenge either of us have ever done.
That gauntlet match was... Because it's anywhere between like 0 and 2 stars.
It's horrible.
For all those short matches. Oh.
Why would I do this to you?
Oh, that was exhausting getting through that.
Here we go. Bray Wyatt pinned Seth Rollins in a Falls Count Anywhere match to win the Universal title in 22.
This match was fun.
In fact, fans were chanting Yowie Wowie. It boggles my mind they are doing the red tint stuff. Honestly, more than anything, that speaks volumes. It ruined the match. The crowd was dead most of the way, except they'd pop for tables breaking since that always gets a pop. Rollins did a curb stomp on the floor and Wyatt popped up. Ryans gave Rollins a uranagi on the apron. Wyatt speared him through the barricade. No reaction. Rollins did 2 ropes. No reaction. Maybe topes. No reaction. Are the R? Yeah, the R and the T are right next to each other. Wyatt knocked Rollins off the top rope, and Rollins fell through the 2 tables he had stacked up. Fans responded to that with "This is awesome" chants. Rollins was then booed. A bunch more description later. He talks about the sequence that ends with the third knocked Wyatt off the stage where he fell into this gimmicked area, and sparks flew everywhere, so he was electrocuted or burning apparently. All kinds of guys came out with fire extinguishers to put out the fire. Rollins tried to remove the suitcases that hid everything to pin Wyatt, but in doing so, he was blinded by electrical discharge. And Wyatt was fine through all this, without a mark, and laid out Rollins with Sister Abigail on the floor and got the pin. The lights then went out, and when they came back on, Wyatt was on the stage holding the title belt. A lot to digest there. What did Dave Meltzer give this match?
All right, he said the presentation ruined it. Crowd, for the most part, not into it.
No reaction.
Except for tables. I don't
remember
the match being that bad.
I mean, it certainly was received better than the
Hell in the Cell match was.
Yeah.
That preceded it. I'm going to say he went match happened territory 2.25.
So close. He did definitely go match happened with the 2-star rating.
So close to 2 stars.
What'd you end up getting?
3. I got 3 right.
This was a really tough one. I was like, oh boy, I'm really going to get this guy today. So 3?
I'll remember this, Steve. I'm going to remember this.
I mean, at this point, what more can you do to me? You're always jacking me over. You're always screwing me over. You know, man, you're always like being rude to me. I've tried to show you love.
I've been rude to you in the past. You ain't seen nothing yet.
Oh, no. All right, well, I got to start watching some old network stuff, I guess. Anyways, that's going to do it for this edition of Guess the Meltzer Rating. Who do you think? What do you think about all this?
I'm still shocked he gave individual ratings for each match in the Gauntlet match rather than the Gauntlet match.
That was rough, man. That was hella
hard.
rough. That was very difficult. And it's Wednesday, man. It's only Wednesday. It's the middle of the week, and I'm throwing this at you.
My week is ruined now. Thanks for that.
No sweat.